This gathering is about the Sustainable Development Goals. It's an all-island gathering in NICVA in Belfast, and it's been put together by the Wheel and NICVA under its iCommunity collaborative project that convenes our sector to bring together people to talk about issues of common concern on the island.
I'm kind of like the father of the SDGs, the manner of speaking. I was the Irish ambassador to the UN, but I was asked to co-chair the negotiations which led to the SDGs and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which is the name of the whole package.
There are obvious ways in which across the whole range of 17 SDGs with 169 targets, there can be intensified cooperation between North and South for our common good, not only in relation to the obvious environmental targets around air, water and environment, but also the other issues which relate to tackling poverty, improving health and education outcomes, strengthening human rights, and indeed having economic policies which are balanced and humane.
In a past life, I was an economist. And when anybody who studies economics knows that actually sustainable development goals are really core to that, because it's about managing limited resources well. And when I look at SDGs, I think about the universal call to action. What does it tell us? It tells us about ending poverty, protecting the planet, ensuring that all people enjoy peace and prosperity.
It was important for the All Island Sustainable Development Solution Network to be at the SDG Symposium in Belfast because it gave us the opportunity to reach out with colleagues from across all of Ireland who are like-minded and across different sectors of society, NGOs and government and universities, who are working to advance the SDGs and to progress this forward, the 2030 Agenda.
So today we've been listening to people talking about the relevance of the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, as an agreement between many countries, including the Republic of Ireland, the UK, and our sector's interest in forwarding the goals as we are contributors to them. We've had a panel on climate change, and we've had workshops on climate and migration.
So as this is an all-island event, I touched on the climate legislation for Northern Ireland, which is a focus on the need for transboundary analysis and action, recognising that nature knows no boundaries. Our water, our air, our climate are not constrained by socially constructed borders.
So I work for Northern Ireland Water as head of climate change, and adaptation is something that's going to be really important for us. There is going to be a lot more rain, a lot more drought conditions here, and you cannot underestimate the scale of infrastructure upgrade that's going to be needed over the next 20-30 years.
Unless people are aware of the goals, unless people see the goals as being relevant, they're not necessarily going to be taking action. And we can't leave the Sustainable Development Goals up to governments or up to local authorities. It's too valuable for that. We all need to be active in that process.
So today I was looking at issues of collaboration for climate policy, collaboration for sustainability, the need for critical education and action within communities, but also then partnerships from communities across all levels of society. So connecting the bottom up with the top down to ensure that both policy is reflective of community needs, that communities are shaping policy, and that also that we as academics are bringing in our research to enable transformations across these different levels.
We had a panel on digital transformation where we're looking at our sector in the context of making sure our sector's not left behind, or that the people we serve, who are often the furthest behind, are digitally included and aware of all of the different changes in that world.
We work with young people and adults who have low attainment in school refusers, and we really want to be able to give them the best chance. And so accessing digital information or accessing learning online can prove challenging. There's barriers to people engaging, and we really seen that on the back of COVID. And so what we wanted to do is make sure that everybody from all neighbourhoods can be included in their learning.
I came from Fact Check, and I were the Island of Ireland's first and only dedicated fact-checking service. We work towards supporting people in accessing accurate information, also developing critical thinking skills, because we believe this is a fundamental part of building relationships on the whole island, and also in emerging discourse and debates in the coming years that will be really rely on accurate and good information. We believe in expertise. We believe in information, accessibility of that information, translating that information, and being independent and autonomous in that process, and as transparent in our processes as possible. People are aware that data is important, good information is important, and that people want it. Like the idea that people want to ignore it or are bored by it. I don't believe that one second.
Technology is important for the sector. It helps charities to do their work more efficiently and effectively, but critically to get access to the data so that organisations can help make their decision making, shape policy, shape strategy.
Part of our work within BITES is really focused on how we use data better to inform our decision making going forward, but also more punchy at a policy level to get things that we know should be changed instinctively from anecdotes. We need to get that from data as well.
The symposium today, the timing couldn't have been better because it re-energises you into why you're involved and what you want to do and reminds you what you want to do and what you have to do. I'm a project coordinator for an organisation called GEMS NI based in Belfast. I've first got involved officially and formally with the SDG concept about 5 years ago through a group called Development Perspectives.
We really need to see an increase in the awareness and understanding of the Sustainable Development Goals right across the island. And so the SDG Champion Programme allows that opportunity to work with other entities that are interested in doing, I suppose, that contribution, but not just in formal education, but in non-formal and in informal as well.
One of the things that we tried to do in the SDGs was to have a focus on leaving no one behind. This concept of front-loading the needs of the most disadvantaged, that was relatively new. The UN had never tried anything like the SDGs before, but they certainly hadn't done anything which gave priority to the needs of the most marginalised groups.
So I work with refugee and asylum seeker background families and young people within their education, and what I got out of today was to kind of how to engage them in practical ways with the SDGs that are really important for all of us.
We've had workshops then to follow up from our panels where people have been able to unpack the ideas and thoughts from our panellists in a deeper way, which we're harvesting for our sector to learn from each other on both jurisdictions about how we forward and further the Sustainable Development Goals.
It's been absolutely great to come to Belfast today. We deliver climate literacy programmes to over 350 schools in the Republic of Ireland. I came today to see what kind of partnerships and what kind of links we can make between the work that we're doing in the Republic and the work that's being done in Northern Ireland.
So in the community and voluntary sector, it's always ourselves that are addressing those shortfalls and gaps from stakeholders and statutory provision. We are able to adapt quicker and go against the change quicker than some of the bigger organisations, and that's why it's really important for us to make sure that we're reaching those hardest to reach and most marginalised.
We always champion the causes that go unnoticed, and we address the needs of the most vulnerable in society. So our work, therefore, is really deeply intertwined with the essence of SDGs.
It got us all in the same room at the same place, and to be able to get together and workshop through ideas and find ways to take action to advance this 2030 agenda.
Lastly, a strong word of praise for the role which the community and voluntary sector has played, not only in Ireland in terms of raising public awareness of the SDGs and all those issues, but also the role that it plays internationally. And I'm here partly to learn more about that role, but also to acknowledge the great achievements of that sector so far.